Hi, everyone. It's Dawn here. Hey, Judy, I see you're already in the comments. You're such a doll. As you can see, I'm on my own. I had a cancellation too today, so I'm on my own again. So hopefully it's not going to be super boring without Katie. I want to quick say hi to all my new subscribers because there are a couple different things that I do with this channel. First of all, my goodness, the buzz as far as the Dan Markel case is palpable on YouTube. It's crazy how excited we all are. And so even though I don't plan on going live until next week again, I'm going to come live if something happens. I'll definitely be watching everything. But with the holiday weekend, I don't expect much. Or maybe we'll get a bombshell. In any case, this is my channel for everything that I love to do. I used to have several different channels. I have a podcast with a partner. And so I recently decided just to kind of put them all back on my Dawn DeKisto channel. So if you see me recording a show that doesn't talk about crime or interrogations or law, that's because I have 3 different shows. This one's Interro Talk. I like to look at interrogation videos and break them down, usually with a friend, Katie. But you're welcome to come online with me if you're interested, if you're ever interested in coming on the screen. And then the second one is my podcast, which I record with my partner, Matt, on Thursday nights. And that's about football. So if you're not interested in football, just forget about Thursday night live stream. So we've decided to take our podcast into live streams on YouTube. It's just more fun. And yeah, so we do both. And then I have another channel, which is just for 10 weeks out of the year. And that's with my adopted granddaughter, Jamie. And it's called Beauty Touchdown. We talk about skincare, makeup, and football. So we're just girls talking about girly things and football. So hi, everyone. I just had to get that out because if you're a new subscriber, it was so fun. The other night I was recording my podcast with Matt, which is Hey, We Like Your Pod. And we had a special guest on. Her name was Emma. And one of my favorite comedians on YouTube, he's got like 400,000 followers. And he's actually the reason I got interested in football because he's so funny about it. And he asked his channel while they were live to raid my channel. So we had thousands of comments. It was so much fun. So let me say hi to you. So if you see things like that going on, join the fun, or if it's not interesting, just wait till I come live. And it's usually going to be Mondays around noon. I should say around noon. It's going to be Mondays at noon Pacific time. We've had a couple scheduling issues already the last couple of weeks because Katie's a mom and that happens. So yeah, so I'm glad you're listening, Judy. Welcome, Sophia. Oh my goodness, Sophia, are you tired or are you not feeling well? I hope you're feeling okay. I wish I was listening in the bed. I just had so much fun listening to Judy's or watching Judy's live stream this morning. Hopefully Chuck Collins will come back another time, but it certainly was a great live stream regardless. And because of that, anticipating Judy's, and Judy is AA Legal Focus. You can see her in the comments here. Because I was anticipating her interviewing Luis Rivera's attorney, I went ahead last night and watched the interrogation. It really wasn't an interrogation. It was his proffer of evidence. So all of his statements that he made about the Dan Markel murder and his role in it and what he knows about other people's role in it. And so I refreshed my memory. And I'm going to just play a little bit of that. And I have a little short video coming out tomorrow with that. So Yeah, so Judy says, hi, Sophia. So let me jump on before I go into anything here. I want to share an article from the Tallahassee Democrat with you. And here we go. And it's by Karl Etters, who's been tirelessly following the Dan Markel case for over 8 years. It's been almost 8.5 years at this point. And so I highlighted a few things. The title is, Could Katherine Magbanua Get an Unusual Deal in the Dan Markel Murder Case? Attorneys weigh in. And there's a few attorneys that weighed in this article, and I thought it was interesting. We're very interested in law and justice, of course. So if you haven't heard yet, I'd be really surprised, but if you haven't heard, Katherine Magbanua has agreed to talk with prosecutors as a state witness. And of course, if you don't know this already, this is a really interesting and important case to follow. She was already convicted, so she's serving her life plus 60 years with no possibility of parole in prison. Okay, she's not in jail. She's already been sent off to the prison. Done, done, done. So now she's speaking. Now she's going to open up to the prosecutor's office, evidently. So obviously, and just by way of reminder, I shouldn't say obviously, because again, you might be new to this case like Katie is. So Charlie Adelson, or Charles Adelson, is supposed to have his day in court early next year. We'll see if this still happens. With what Katie has to say. And she used to date Charlie Adelson. So we have no idea. It's all speculation what she's going to say, or whether she'll testify, or if it's just going to be written statements or whatever. So here's what some of the attorneys had to say. So defense attorney Phil Padovano says, this is out there, meaning this is very unusual. It's way out there. And he was an appellate attorney, a defense attorney, and also the former First District Court of Appeal judge, which is where this is going to end up, evidently. And he reminds the readers here in this article that by state law in Florida, a conviction for first-degree murder must carry a sentence of either life or the death penalty. So there isn't any wiggle room, is what he's trying to say there, or there wasn't in terms of sentencing her. So, and the jury didn't, so it is what it is. It's life plus 60. Katie's there. So he said one possible path to reducing Magbanua's sentence could lie, this sounds really scary to me, in vacating her conviction and life sentence, then offering her another plea agreement where there could be more discretion over prison time. So to have this vacated after all of this waiting, her retrial, COVID, all this stuff, it just sounds a little crazy. And it sounds like to me, that seems like a lot of things could go wrong. But what he's trying to say here says, in other words, the judge simply does not have the power to modify that sentence. So, because it's a state law. So also he talked to defense attorney Tim Jansen. And he reminded the readers in this article, he's a defense attorney, I think I mentioned, that jurisdiction over the case lies within the First District Court of Appeals. So she's in appeals now because she's already been convicted. And that Kappelman, the prosecutor, has really well established Magbanua's link to Charles Adelson. That's well established. There's not a question about that. And she did that throughout the previous trial of Magbanua and Garcia. So what he said is it comes down to two things. I think we know this. How badly does the state want to get Adelson? And he's just talking about Charlie here. And would they probably have to clear this with the Markell family, of course. So another appellate lawyer weighed in on this article, Michael Ufferman, and he said, providing substantial assistance can be a basis for a reduced sentence, but in his experience, prosecutors are hesitant to make promises, this is interesting here, ahead of any actual testimony, because the existence of such an agreement is likely to be impeached at trial. So this is where I was thinking, okay, Are they going to let her testify and then see what happens? And then decide whether to reduce the sentence or not? That's almost what that statement sounded like to me. And I'm going to read it one more time. So Michael Ufferman, a Tallahassee appellate lawyer, said providing substantial assistance can be basis for a reduced sentence, but in his experience, prosecutors are hesitant to make promises ahead of any actual testimony because the existence of such an agreement is likely to be impeached at trial. He also says in his experience, prosecutors at this stage will never make a promise about that type of reduction, or if there will be a reduction, because doing so, of course, makes the witness less credible. So they could argue if this does go to trial and Magbanua does testify against Charlie after all these years of saying no, her testimony will be completely attacked by the defense, and rightfully so. So my assessment of this, and Judy, if you're listening, because you're a lawyer and I'm not, I'd love to hear what you say about that. But in other words, she's had years. She's drawn this out for a painfully long time for the Markell family. My heart really goes out to the Markell family and friends of Dan Markel. So my guess is the state of Florida will expect a significant outcome for a judge to help her out now. And in my opinion is it has to be more than Charles Adelson, who they already have enough evidence to have made an arrest. So with that, what are your thoughts? Yes, she's back booked into Tallahassee jail. So she's not being sent back to the prison yet, Judy. We don't know yet. So yeah, there's just going to be a lot of speculation until we know what she said. And it may come out I'm thinking too, maybe it'll just come out in drips and drabs during the trial. If Charlie does go ahead with the trial, depending on what she's saying, obviously, if he finds out what she's saying and it's so devastating to his case, he might end up pleading. There's so many different things that could happen, but it just made me so much even more appreciative that Luis Rivera actually spoke up early on. And because without that cooperation and his conscience, where would we be right now? So I did want to share those thoughts from those attorneys from Karl Etters' article in the Tallahassee Democrat. In case you are not subscribed to that, you can get it for like $1 for a month or something like that. It's very affordable. And then I'm going to show you one other thing just to listen to. And this, I pulled this together because of Luis in kind of in honor of Chuck Collins speaking to Judy today. And even though he wasn't live, he did speak with Judy, so she had a lot of information to share. So let's see if I can find this. Oh, wrong screen. I don't normally share this way, so let me see. Oh, this is weird. I'm going to just play something for you. Here we go. Real quick. So hopefully you can hear this. And this again is in honor of what Luis had to say. And this is fairly early on in his testimony, or in his testimony and his proffer.
You said they gave him $5,000. Tell us about that. What did he say? Where did he get the money from?
Oh, he said he got the money from the lady. Yeah, tell me her name. Yeah. He said, I got the money from the lady. Well, his wife gave him the money. So Katie gave him the money. But he told me about the lady. He told me, the lady got the money. She won't pay us.
So it's very clear that at this point, they were trying to keep his proffer chronological. So he was saying we hadn't gotten to that point yet where he knew who the lady was, but he's making it very clear that the lady that he was talking about and Katie are two separate people. I know some people were a little confused about that, but this is really powerful. The entire video. Is it powerful? And I'm going to probably go through that with Katie after we're done with the Wendy Adelson, because there's so many little tidbits in there, and he really did come off as honest. So, hey, go Georgia. How's everybody? So what does that mean, Judy? She's back. She's booked back into Tallahassee jail. Does that mean she's done with her chat? Is that what you're trying to say? Or are you saying she's just been transported? I'm doing a Judy. I'm doing my comments backwards. It's 10 p.m. Oh, that's why you're in bed. Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, hopefully he'll come back another time. That's Luis Rivera's attorney who agreed to speak with Judy, and I think I shared that in the community page. And Judy says hi, and she's in the middle of work stuff, and she's multitasking like I usually do. So yeah. Oh, it just means she's arrived. Okay, that's what I thought. So maybe tomorrow she'll meet, says Judy. Right. No, yeah, food always comes first. All right. Well, let me do a couple more minutes of the interrogation. I don't want to spend a ton of time because I don't want to get too far ahead of Katie, although she is listening. And the one from yesterday, there was a lot of downtime, but I'm just going to go through a couple minutes, coming back to the interrogation of Wendy Adelson. The day after Dan Markel, the day that Markell was shot, his ex-wife is Wendy, and she's just getting to the point where she asked if one of her friends, she was asking for friends to go pick the kids up from school, and because she was going to be at the police station for longer, they're going through her car, they're going through her phone, and now she's asked for her friend, and her friend Jane has just shown up. So let's share that, and let's see what you guys think about this, and if you are picking up on anything new that you haven't heard before, or maybe just like me, maybe I think I forgot some things. So let me take this off for all right, so here we go. It's 5:11.
And I just thought, oh, maybe there's like an electrical outage or something. Like I saw the street blocked. So I was driving into town. I was running errands. I was meeting some friends.
Sorry, I'm going to back it up just one more second here. This is really important. Jane is here now. Listen to what Jane asks Wendy and what Wendy's answer is, and tell me what you think about this. Jane's her friend, obviously.
I know there was a shooting in Danny's blog this morning. That's all I know.
That's all I know.
Oh dear, honey. Do you know how he is?
He's not good, Jane.
Really?
I was driving up the street and I saw like the tape and I just thought.
Okay, so Jane says, do you know how he is about Danny? And she says, it's not good, Jane. And now she starts to talk about her alibi again, that she drove up the street.
Oh, maybe there's like an electrical outage or something. Like I saw the street blocked. So I was driving into town. I was running errands. I was meeting some friends for lunch, and I drove up Trescott because it's the shortcut. And so I drive up Trescott, and I see the tape, and I was like, I guess there was like an electrical outage because sometimes we'd have trees that would fall or whatever. And so I turned around and didn't think anything of it. I was at lunch with two friends, and the officer shows up. And I've been here since then.
And you don't have a phone?
Well, I had a phone. I gave them, I said you could search my phone because maybe they can like find something useful on it.
We have to go through a lot of these steps, and as I was explaining to her, it's just as much effort to go through the steps to exclude anybody that could possibly be involved.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So we have her phone as soon as it's apparently it's taking a little bit longer than normal, and as soon as we get done with the phone, she'll get it back.
Yeah.
So we're just, but the main thing I was concerned about is the kids need to be picked up
Oh,
on
exactly.
Friday.
Right.
And so when I came and they said they'd spoken to the Grossmans,
Yeah.
I was like, I'll get the kids. I'm a
Right.
social worker. I've picked up kids that don't know me before, but I
Right.
think
I
especially given
I
this.
gave them your name and Lynn's name and
Right.
said, I think like Alan and Lynn have done it. Like when Danny had his back surgery, Alan and Lynn did it before. So, because I was out
Right.
of town,
And
so
they
like
have,
they've
they
done
have.
it before. They've got 4 kids, so they can.
I have, you're gonna be here for a while. You want me to
I think
sit?
so.
So, like, I might have a blanket in my car or something.
Do we have anything
Do you have
here or have they all
something
been
for
used?
somebody who could get?
Let me check.
This
see
woman
that
is
one is good enough for
freezing.
her.
And I apologize. I thought about that when she was shipping earlier, but I guess got a lot of stuff.
No, there's literally
It's not really the most
it isn't,
important thing
it's
right
not the most important
No,
thing.
no, I saw her shipping and I kept thinking I'll go out and find out if they had a bunch of them. They had a bunch of them, but I don't know what's still available.
So what do you mean he's not good? What do you know about this?
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Oh my god. Really? Oh my god.
I don't know how to tell the kids.
I know.
Let's put that
That
on.
would be great, thank you. You really don't think that? You know that?
What's that? I'm sorry.
You know that they don't think he's gonna make it through this?
You're not gonna make it.
He's a TMH right now?
I was asking because I thought maybe he would, and I wanted
Right,
like
right.
I wanted the kids to be
This
with him and like he was okay.
Okay. And he has family and stuff in hospital or something.
I don't have any
No.
family here.
No, it's-
Right, I know, but
So I'm just wondering if you noticed, and the reason I replayed where we left off yesterday, just a couple minutes, is it really struck me how Jane responded when she was told they didn't think Danny was going to make it, compared to the way Wendy responded. Now, we can't expect everyone to respond the same. However, it felt to me, it just felt more genuine. So hi, True. Hi, everyone. I was thinking this too, Judy. I mean, how does Charlie feel about seeing this? What Wendy said? I was thinking that all along, like it was all over the internet. He must have seen it. And also, Sophia had mentioned, and I thought about this too. We're all thinking of all the possibilities, and there's probably more that we haven't thought of. But Sophia was saying, maybe Wendy was throwing Charlie under the bus so that she gets all the inheritance. So if they take Charlie and Donna and who knows with her dad, that just leaves Wendy, right? So hi everyone. LAC. Oh, the lack of phone. Okay, gotcha. So Judy says this also explains the lack of phone calls between her and Charlie in jail. Yeah. It did really, I got the impression she was throwing her brother under the bus as well.
Any
They don't,
girlfriend, anybody come down? Nothing?
Amy, I don't know if Amy knows yet. I don't have Amy's phone number.
Amy's on
Oh.
Facebook.
I'll contact her later.
She's on Facebook. I mean, she can be found.
Yeah.
So the other thing I noticed, sorry, I'm interrupting all the time, and you guys tell me if you want me to pause somewhere. It really doesn't seem to be genuine that Wendy is concerned about Dan being alone until Jane shows up. She made a couple of comments here and there, but when Jane showed up, it became very important because it was important to Jane, in my opinion. Let me know what you think.
I was thinking of one more thing. This is really tangential, but his friend I told you about, Matt Price,
Okay.
his wife's brother was killed. So if you're gonna call someone first, Matt's gonna lose it. So
I don't intend on calling Matt. I just
Okay.
need to have the background on different associates and friends and so
Right.
Yeah.
forth. My objective is to find out who did this. So based on what you've told me, I'm gonna take that information, compile it with other information that other investigators have worked on, and we'll see where it leads.
okay.
Now, I'm not saying anybody that you told me about is anyway involved.
Is there
I
any
don't know.
sign of stuff being stolen from the house?
I can't discuss that.
Okay.
So,
But you are discussing that you don't think he's gonna live.
I'm telling you a fact that I know he's not gonna live. not gonna live. Okay. So,
Is he dead? No.
well, I already discussed that with her. He has enough injury that's traumatic enough that he's not gonna be able to recover from it.
Did Lynn already go get the boys?
Yes.
What's happening right now is Lynn's on her way here. She doesn't have car seats. Gonna take the car seats out of your van, put them in Lynn's vehicle, and she's gonna go directly to Creative Preschool,
She has a key in my house, so she can.
pick up the kids. If I get a chance to, when she arrives, I will talk to her briefly and basically tell her, let's wait on discussing anything with the children.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would do that anyway.
Yeah. I wonder if it would be better if she didn't know. Like if you,
It's, I mean,
just so that she, like because she's gonna be done. Like, what if she can't then drive and go get the boys? Like,
okay, but let me just say to you, I didn't know anything when I came here. So my husband Googles and says there was a shooting on Triscott Drive. It's where I live.
I got a call from
So-
my like real estate agent who heard something.
So I know that I didn't know why I was coming here, but anybody with more sense would have known that.
John told you that
Yes.
when you told him you were coming here.
No,
Or
they found John. Interestingly, they found John's cell phone number.
they found me eating lunch. I don't know how that happened. I'm fascinated still. Like,
There are ways to find
Yeah, it's interesting. So they called my husband's cell phone, and he's like, here she is. Talk to her. And they said you needed me at the police department, so I came. It was not a.
what did you think I needed you for?
I wasn't thinking it was good news, but I didn't. My thought was that Danny had probably assaulted you. That was my
I
thought.
think that was Lisa's thought when she's like, I heard there was a shot on Trescott,
So-
and so I hope you're okay.
So
the
that
realtor.
Yeah.
So that was my, but this scenario, which is now not seeming real to me,
Yeah,
didn't
well, me
seem
neither.
like that was not what I. What I-
So I sped it up a little bit. Hopefully you can hear it still okay. But Jane said, my thought was that Danny had assaulted Wendy. And there wasn't any kind of pause by Wendy. He would never do that. Oh no, it's interesting to actually see how whatever Wendy's been saying to her friends over the years about her relationship with Dan, that they would jump to the conclusion that Dan hurt her. She's got this victim thing going really down pat. So, Sophia, you have a few questions for June. Well, she's here. What are your questions for June? And Seattle Cookie says, Wendy slipped a lot on the interrogation. She thought they will not see the Prius and find out about the hitman. That's right. So, all right, let's keep going. I'm not going to go too long
I
today.
just keep picturing the kids.
Right. No. So there's no point in doing that. Don't do that. So
When Lynn gets here, I'm gonna just ask her to take the kids to her house. Would that be
Instead
more
of my
reasonable?
house?
I think
Would that
that's
be
much
more
better.
reasonable?
Is that better? She has a TV. They can watch TV.
Yeah,
I know, but
Yes.
they've been there before.
A bunch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take
they're
them
very
there.
comfortable there.
They
Take
have
them
children of their own.
They've got 4 kids. They're grown, but
take them there.
okay, yeah.
Because
I'm gonna go make sure that I don't miss her.
Okay.
thank you.
Lynn Grossman, right?
This is Sarah, by the the way.
Hi, sir. Are you a victim advocate? I am.
I said you used to be a victim advocate. Was I
That's
right?
not true. Yeah, I've done lots of stuff like that.
I recognize your name, and then she explained.
What's your last name?
Latour. I've only been here about 2.5 years.
I am losing my shit.
Well, that would be appropriate. I think you should do that. I think if you don't do that, that's
Jane,
not right.
who would have done this?
I have
And
no
are they
idea.
going to come after my kids? Or me? Who's next?
Who's Jeff this much older?
I don't even think of Jeff. I hope to God not.
Yeah, who does?
Yeah, of
I
course.
think you should. I think that.
Okay, I'm going to unspeed that because this is when somebody else comes into the conversation. Did you guys catch that? You probably are familiar. But just for anyone who's listening for the first time, and slow it down and repeat what you
Yeah.
Because
All right, I'm gonna go make sure that I don't miss her.
Okay.
thank you.
Lynn Grossman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
This is Sarah, by the way.
Hi, sir. Are you a victim advocate?
I am.
I said you used to be a victim advocate. Was I
That's
right?
not true. Yeah, I've done lots of stuff like that.
I
but-
recognize your name, and then she explained.
What's your last name?
Latour. I've only been here about 2.5 years.
I am losing my shit.
Well, that would be appropriate. I think you should do that. I think if you don't do that, that's
Jane,
not right.
who would have done this?
I have just
And
one
are they
idea.
going to come after my kids? Or me? Who's next?
Is Jeff this much of a lunatic?
So Jane said, is Jeff this much of a lunatic? So first of all, Jane thought Danny might have assaulted her, and now she's asking if her boyfriend was a lunatic. So it kind of tells you. So this is where we pivot. I'm going to close out just in a second here.
I don't even think of Jeff. I hope to God not.
Can I ask who Jeff is?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
I think you should. I think Wendy's been seeing a guy called Jeff,
Who's a friend of Jane's. And
who's jealous.
yeah.
So Jeff is a friend of Jane's, and he's jealous. But he's jealous probably for a reason.
Are you still currently seeing him, or just something you kind of
Well,
let taper off?
it's
maybe?
been a bad week.
Okay.
Yeah, Jane and I actually went for a walk together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, early this week.
Earlier this week.
And by the way, she mentioned earlier she couldn't speak to Danny about the changing schools for Ben because she had lost her voice, but yet she was speaking with her girlfriend. So she evidently had her voice at the same time.
You've taken a 1 week break from
I took
Jeff.
a 1 week break from communication with Jeff to figure out what to do.
Okay.
Because we've been dating for like
A year.
9 months, so like 10 months a year.
And when you use the word dating to you, that's my boyfriend, or is it more of just dating, like the
Yes.
casual? Okay.
Yeah.
No, like he was my boyfriend and involved with the kids, and I mean, yeah. And we had kind of a fight recently, and he's been trying to get back together, and I didn't know if I wanted to, and so he actually, the morning that I gave that talk, my boys were there and Jeff was watching them, so I could give the talk. Like he's, Jane, do you think I have to tell them about him?
I think you
guess.
have to tell them about him because that is the only
God forbid.
thing that I can imagine related to you, related to Danny. would be
The only
Jeff.
thing I could come up with was like his girlfriend Amy is recently divorced, separated, not really divorced. Like,
Sure. So
what if-
either of those people.
like the jealous boyfriend types, like what if the ex-husband.
Right. Totally.
Okay, I'm going to pause here so that we have a good starting point for next Monday when Katie comes back. So, right? There's so much. If you really listened to this, like I've listened to this interrogation like 4 times now, probably 3. This is probably my 3rd time around, but there's so many inconsistencies about little things, little details. Well, she was taking a week off of Jeff and Dan at the same time, but she had her voice. So did she have her voice or didn't she have her voice? I'm sure she had a lot of phone calls on her log. So yeah, kind of hard. Okay, let me get to the comments here. I have a feeling, Sophia, that I don't know. Does anyone know when Wendy started her campaign? I'm calling it a campaign because she loves to be the victim. She needs a hug. Who would do this? Oh, I'm cold. All this. She's just loves to play that victim. You know, it's her role in her family. She loves to tell everyone that, you know, of course her family's not going to like Dan because he hurt her. She doesn't ever hesitate to say how badly she's hurt. She even said during this interrogation, learning this news, that she's sad and hurt. She's hurt. Dan was the one who was shot. So she's living in an alternate reality sometimes. But if anyone has the answer to whether she just had started complaining about Jeffrey a few days or if it was a longer campaign, I have a feeling she complains about the men in her life continually. That just the vibe I get, but I don't know. Okay, and then Judy is saying it really doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone that wanted to kill Dan want to kill her? And she wasn't even his wife anymore or living with him. And that theory that she was now in fear for her life. Right. And but twice, and I didn't pause it, but when we go through this with Katie, I will. She stops. She's always the first to talk. Everyone's like crying and upset, but Wendy's like, who did that? Like, she's got such focus on, I just find it unfathomable. If I found out somebody, the father of my children, was just shot laying in the hospital, it's amazing the stuff that she's talking about and how chatty she is and how she comes out of her crying to ask questions and make statements so easily, with such ease. Yeah, stupid and illogical. And Judy said most likely she did start her campaign right before this. It makes sense, but she might have been complaining all along. Who knows? Who knows? All right, let's see what else. I'm going backwards. I'm going to go back up top. Okay. All right. Yeah, and this is interesting. I heard this too, that Jane is still supporting Wendy as a friend. She was in social work, or she just might have a broader, mindset. Who knows? She may believe her. Maybe she's supporting her in spite of it. It does seem like she could. Even Dan said that in the paperwork that Wendy seemed, unstable. She really did seem like the kind of person who needed an awful lot of support. Couldn't handle even being a mom. So. Yeah. So again, Sophia, I'm dying with this one. I have a few questions for June. I think she's making a joke, but if you have questions for June, she's right here in the chat. So, and then also, yeah, the similarity between Wendy and Charlie. No one's brought that up yet. I'm so glad you brought it up, because I was thinking the same thing. They even look a lot alike when you're looking at their photos. The way, of course, they're family members, so they're going to have similar mannerisms. So yeah, that's only a few minutes of the interrogation video, so I'm trying to set it up so that it's easy to pick up on the story. So right now we're pivoting from who could do this. She's named her family, she's named Charlie, she's named whoever else she's named, and now we've pivoted to focusing on Jeff. And the victim advocate is really paying attention here, because she will shortly run out and get the detectives so they can start talking about that. So that's how this is going to shift. Never a dull moment in this interrogation. So with that, gosh, I appreciate you guys joining me, and I will be back with Katie. Hopefully her son is sick and she's over at the doctor's office. So family is the most important thing. So that's okay, Katie. And we'll see you all next week. And I hope you all have a great weekend. And gosh, I've got my Google alerts on for all the key names. Let's hope that something really positive comes out. I don't think we're going to hear anything before the holidays, but you never know. You never know. It could be a really interesting holiday. So if that happens, I'm sure I'll see you all here on YouTube. So bye for now, everyone. And thanks again very much for joining me. Bye for now.